not to make a sound. She walked over to his bed, tucking him in with the usual care. "Good night, my love," she whispered softly, turning off the bedside lamp. The room was plunged into darkness, with only the faint moonlight spilling through the window. The boy lay still, listening to his mother's footsteps fade as she left the room. Everything seemed normal, just like every other night. But something felt wrong. He could sense it before he saw it, something lurking near the window. He tried to ignore it at first, closing his eyes tight, telling himself it was just his imagination. But his heart pounded louder with each passing second. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was there, a shadow, motionless behind the curtain. His breath caught in his throat. Maybe it was just the wind, or a tree branch swaying outside. But the longer he stared, the more certain he became. The shadow was too still, too solid. He pulled the blanket tighter, hoping it would somehow shield him from the creeping fear crawling up his spine. He wanted to call out for his mom, but something held him back. A small voice inside warned him that if she came in, the shadow might vanish, leaving him alone again with the uncertainty. He had to know, he had to see what it was. Slowly he sat up in bed, his feet touching the cold floor. The room felt impossibly quiet. Each step toward the window seemed to stretch time, the distance growing as his heart thudded in his chest. His hand trembled as he reached out to the curtain. With a quick motion, he pulled it aside. There it was, a coat draped over the back of an old wooden chair. The moonlight had cast a strange long shadow that made it look far more sinister than it was. Relief washed over him, and he let out a shaky laugh. Just a coat. That's all it was. He'd been scared for nothing. Feeling foolish, he climbed back into bed, pulling the covers up to his chin. Silly, he thought. Just a dumb shadow. As he closed his eyes, something shifted in the darkness. In the far corner of the room, just out of reach of the moonlight, a figure stood still, watching him. Two faint glimmers, like eyes, reflected the pale light, observing him quietly. The real danger had always been there, hidden in the deepest shadows. But the boy, lulled into false safety, never saw it. Not yet.